In finance, there is an empirical anomaly known as the steady earner. These are institutions that report years of consistent, uninterrupted profits right up until the exact moment they are completely wiped out. This bar chart tracks IndyMac before the 2008 crisis. For a decade, the firm generated a flawless sequence of positive profit margins, looking like a model of perfect stability. Then, in a single year, an explosive loss instantly erased all those cumulative gains. Highly sophisticated risk management systems and predictive economic models observed IndyMac's steady ascent, yet they entirely failed to predict this type of catastrophic collapse. These blow-ups stem from a structural conflict, a mismatch between who captures the profit and who bears the risk. What looks like a steady earner to an outside observer is actually a ticking time bomb explicitly engineered to hide extreme risk. Standard economic theory attempts to solve the principal-agent problem by using performance bonuses. The logic is that tying a manager's compensation to their positive performance will align their goals with the goals of the firm they represent. The fatal flaw in this theory is that it implicitly assumes a transparent environment. It assumes a world governed by a normal distribution, where risks are highly visible and easy to measure. The real economy operates in a fat-tailed domain. This is a statistical environment where the vast majority of properties are determined by rare, extreme events, rather than the average outcomes in the middle. In fat-tailed domains, the law of large numbers converges incredibly slowly, or sometimes not at all over the time horizon of an individual operator. Because these extreme events are so rare, their true statistical properties remain completely opaque to outside observers. When you did an agent an asymmetric bonus, meaning they get paid for the upside but do not pay for the downside, and place them in an environment characterized by informational opacity, you create a massive incentive for them to actively hide risk rather than manage it. Applying standard agency theory to fat-tailed environments changes the agent's objective from managing risk to hiding it. We see how this works by looking at the statistical mechanics of the agent's payoff function. This bell curve represents a baseline probability distribution of financial returns before an agent intervenes. Most outcomes fall near the center. The agent captures a percentage of the positive performance on the right side, but a structural floor blocks the personal exposure to severe losses. The agent now has a clear mathematical objective: maximize their probability of securing a positive payout, even if their actions severely degrade the true total expected return of the entire system. To achieve this, the agent alters the shape of the outcomes. They squish the distribution to create negative skewness, pushing the peak up and to the right for frequent small wins, while dragging the left tail far out of sight. A precise trade-off is occurring here. The agent is exchanging low-probability, catastrophic impacts for high-probability, low-impact wins. The agent is entirely indifferent to the degradation of the total expected return. As long as that degradation is buried deep in the unobservable left tail, it does not affect their compensation. Because the left tail is opaque, the principal only sees the frequent small wins. This manufactured negative asymmetry fools them into seeing steady, reliable outperformance. Under these specific mathematical conditions, engineering extreme, hidden fragility is the agent's most rational and profitable strategy. In the real world, capital exposure is not static. It reacts dynamically to perceived performance. This introduces the multiplier effect, or omega. Consecutive successes cause capital allocation to increase geometrically. These artificially steady returns act as a magnet, drawing in massive amounts of leverage. But the game eventually ends at the stopping time, when the hidden event breaches the surface. When this happens, the loss is not linear, it is explosive. The accumulated left tail risk detonates against a capital base maximally over-leveraged by years of false confidence. The longer the blowup is delayed through negative skewness, the larger the multiplier becomes. The math guarantees a systemic destruction. This theoretical mathematical model maps precisely onto the sweeping, devastating institutional collapse of the 2008 financial crisis. The institutional incentive structures across Wall Street perfectly mirrored the catastrophic payoff function. Bankers extracted bonuses during the profitable years without any mechanism to return that compensation when the system failed. The extreme opacity of mortgage-backed securities allowed the left tail to remain completely unobservable to the broader market right until the stopping time was reached. The 2008 crisis manifested as the logical conclusion of institutionalized risk transfer. Standard deterrence models rely on the threat of being fired or losing future earnings. In fat-tailed domains, these models fail. Deterrence only works if risks are observable and the stakes are directly attributable. Opacity prevents both. By the time the delayed harm becomes visible, the agent has already extracted their wealth. Skin in the game acts as a structural, biological filter for the entire system. In probability, an absorbing state is a condition from which an agent cannot recover. Once they enter it, they can no longer continue playing the game. Biological systems rely on absorbing states. When an organism makes a catastrophic error, the resulting failure physically removes it from the gene pool. Financial safety nets do the exact opposite. Applying the absorbing state to risk management means that incompetent forecasters and over-leveraged bankers must be forced into personal, financial ruin when their strategies fail. They must be forced to exit the system. Without an absorbing state, incompetent actors are shielded from harm. They remain active, compound their errors, and continually infect the system with hidden fragility. Let's map out the two ultimate systemic states. On the left, the parasitic agent extracts upside while transferring downside to the collective. On the right, the symmetric participant bears their own downside. Errors are contained locally, filtering out bad strategies. Ancient civilizations understood this mathematical asymmetry perfectly. Nearly 4,000 years ago, the Code of Hammurabi mandated that if a builder constructed a house that collapsed and killed the owner, the builder would be put to death. This establishes a fundamental law of antifragility. A system will only survive if it strictly prohibits the privatization of gains coupled with the socialization of catastrophic losses. Skin in a game is the mathematically mandatory heuristic required to ensure a complex system survives an uncertain world.